screen of us. I don't know.
Live streaming is on.
Hit the top corner where it says gallery.
Okay, gallery.
Or you click on Jerry's face and it'll make Jerry's face
Thank
big.
you. That's what we want.
Everyone, welcome to Jerry, take it away.
All right. It's February 27, 2021. And it's my pleasure to be here. My name is Jerry Fialka, and we have Clinton Ignatoff, and we have the amazing Mary Jane Shoultz. Hello, Mary Jane.
Hello. Wait, I got to get dressed. We have a big thing for Ursula. This is my French flag. Allons, come on, everybody. Allons, enfants de la patrie. I don't know. There we go. Yeah, there you are. Okay.
And you know, Mary Jane, you were such a great wonder in America. Why'd you go to France?
That's where they needed me. You know, it's very funny. They wanted me to come. They paid me a lot of money to lecture about French feminism. I mean, they were trying to get feminism. And I had lunch with Simone de Beauvoir and the support. Can you get that turned down, honey?
You know, Tanya, can you turn down the TV a little bit?
Oh, thank you. All these electronic media, it's so great.
Wait. We cannot have Mary Jane Shoultz telling us to turn TV down. You should be saying turn it up.
Here comes somebody else.
We're right next to the front door
to join the party.
But you were shipped there at what age did you go to France?
Oh, what difference? A girl doesn't tell her age. I was 187.
Like a high school.
But I mean,
I was out of high school.
You were just out of high school because you got some award. What was the award for?
Well, actually, I was 22. They asked me to write a thing for Mademoiselle and it was called Classes with a Poet. And it was about the wonderful poet from, where was he from? I put it on. He's from Boston, Robert Lowell.
Yeah.
That's what the cover says, Classes with a Poet. And they translated it into Urdu or whatever, and they sent it all around the world. And then I got in trouble with FBI because in those days you couldn't write for just anybody, and send it out over the world. And who else was in trouble? Another woman writer.
Where's Jimmy?
We were the spies for the FBI, so they were after us. But that's a minor thing.
Well, the major thing is you raised 6 kids and met Marcia McLuhan. What'd you learn from raising children? What's the thing?
There she is. It's the best thing I ever did. You know what Cleopatra said? My children are my jewels. And it turned out to be true. Look at her. She's my engineer and my go-to person, my mailbox and everything. She's just here.
Today I'm showing up as Groovy Anonymous Secundo.
Well, Ursula is truly a dancer. What are you going to show us now, Mary Jane?
This is my grandparents.
American Gothic.
What did he say?
American Gothic.
Yeah.
He knew. He was clued in.
He knew.
She loves that.
Now, isn't that my grandparents looking just like my grandparents?
Very traditional.
Yeah.
So how the heck did you happen if that's your grandparents?
No, I'm kidding, but people, they always want to know my grandparents, so I ripped this out and put it on. I ripped it out of Marcia McLuhan's book. He said, all media work us over completely. They are so pervasive in their personal, political, economic, aesthetic, psychological, moral, ethical, and social consequences that they leave no part of us untouched, unaffected. This is so true. The medium is the massage. Any understanding of social and cultural change is impossible without a knowledge of why media work as environments. All media are extension of some human faculty, psychic or physical. There's your lecture from Marcia McLuhan today.
Why does he have this? Looks like it's backwards, Mom. Why does he have this in there backwards? Do you know?
Yeah.
Well, let's read it. What it's
Well, it's backwards. How can you?
Anyway, it's signed by John Dewey. We're not paying any attention to that Dewey guy.
Oh, you don't like him? Okay, next.
If you don't have a good name, forget it.
But Mary Jane, how did you get the word spliteracy coined yourself, pre-meeting Marshall or post-meeting Marshall? How'd you come up with literacy?
He pointed that out, that literacy will split your brains apart. I mean, here a child is just going along, playing in the sandbox, and suddenly they hand him a piece of paper, and he's got to read. And he says, I don't know what I do with that. So it splits the brain apart. The right half goes one way and the left half goes another. Okay, so what, for instance, your right brain is very different from your left brain. Which would you rather see? A stained glass window or a mural?
Well, of course, I know the right answer is a stained glass window, which is more right brain.
I don't, never mind the
Well,
left.
it's dazzling. The stained glass.
No, we're not going to try to explain.
Oh, we're
right
not
or-
explaining. Sorry.
When we do right and left, everybody gets it wrong.
Right, but isn't left linear and male?
Well, you and I say so, but we get into a fight. If we define things too carefully, you're sunk. You're in an argument immediately. Just proclaim it and claim it. And don't
That's
explain
it. And don't explain it. Boy.
Don't.
And then how did you meet Marshall? How did it come about?
One day, I was sitting by the snowy, oh, this is such a good tale. I can't remember it.
You're so excited. I'm so excited to talk to you all.
He looks so cute. He looks just like Marcia McLuhan, but
Yeah.
has too much hair. But it's okay because Marcia McLuhan died at this. Oh, there. Oh,
there he
yes.
You were sitting in the snow? Why were you out in the snow?
Well, I was sitting in the snow waiting for him.
Oh.
Nobody ever waits for me. They kicked him upstairs into a manger where the baby Jesus was born.
The ivory tower, maybe?
Well, see, they didn't know what to do with him. Nobody knew what to do with him. And so they retired him to this old stable. And we had the best classes there. I showed everybody how to make potato chips. I had an old potato chip maker from Thomas Jefferson. He gave it to me in person. And we made Christmas cookie castles. I showed everybody in the northern Manitoba how to make Christmas cookie castles. I gave them each $5 and said, go forth and do as I say. And they did. Oh, they did wonderful. And they just closed the schools down and had parades around so people could show off, each classroom could show off their cookie castles. And they were wonderful. I mean, it was a factory of wonderfulness.
With every single candy castle, did you put Christmas tree lights or just some of them? That was such a pretty aspect of it.
I know. Well, not everybody had them. We didn't all have electricity in those days. Remember, this was just before the Civil War.
Right.
Marshall goes way back. But I mean, how was Marshall a human being? Like you got to actually hang out with him as a human being. What was he like?
To hang out with him? Oh, such a fun guy. I mean, he would always call me up and tell me his jokes, and I'd call him up. And I used to wonder, why is he calling me? And I realized it's because he and I were vibing on the same. Well, we didn't use the word vibe. It sounds too sexy because there was no sex. People think we were involved. No, there was no sex. He didn't know about sex. I didn't know about sex. I mean, I had 4 kids, but
The life of the mind.
right.
That's
The intellectual, the life of the mind.
you know, Mary Jane, that's Bridget Bardot says, when I make love, I don't think.
That's true. Well, it's sort of primal. I mean, you know, Adam and Eve, they weren't thinking. What were they thinking? Oh, I gotta get me a condom. No, I don't think so. In fact, Adam and Eve, they had, how many? Did they have 2 kids? Cain and Abel?
Oh, that was them.
That was not a good look. Who are you gonna who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters? Call the midwife. Oh, have you seen that show, Call the Midwife?
Tell us about it.
So
Oh,
good.
every weekend. They're getting better and better as we demanded more and more babies to come dropping out of these women. And in real life, boom, there they are. Who wouldn't turn into that? Tune in.
England gathered around a circle of women around these women that were pregnant, and they made like a little matristic system for themselves. Very nice.
It's a convent where they take in pregnant women, and they lay them down on the bed and pat their head and sing them a lullaby, and pretty soon a baby drops out. And for a while it got pretty political, and we just didn't, we wouldn't watch, so they had to hurry up and get back to the more babies.
More babies. Every episode, 2 or 3 babies guaranteed to be born.
And one time there were 8. That was 2 twins. Oh, we were in 7th heaven, and we demanded more. So there'll be more, because we won't tune in unless we get babies.
Yeah, like why have babies yourself when you can watch them born on TV, right?
No, you love babies, so you're going to have some more. This is encouraging the population.
Wall-to-wall babies.
Nice. Well, Orson Welles had 2 questions that he felt were important. What did God mean by creating the world, and what do I do next?
Orson Welles, wonderful. What was his great movie?
Citizen
Citizen Kane. Good girl.
But
No.
what does that mean to you, Mary Jane? What did God mean by creating the world?
First of all, a man can't say, because God is a woman. Everyone knows that. And what she meant when she started the world, she said, let's go, folks. This is it. This is mine. And we're going to run it. And they do. It's only men are now beginning to understand it. Oh my God, women are running this place. Thank you. So anyway, I was sitting out in front of the, Marcia McLuhan and I were sitting in the cafeteria at, in Toronto, where we used to go every morning real early and have breakfast. It was the only time to be, together where people wouldn't bother us. And he said, okay, Mary Jane, I'll give you 20 counts and you'll hear a terrible crashing in the kitchen. And I said, what do you mean? He said, just listen. And sure enough, give me 20 beats and it was starting to, things were hurling and noise was being made and stuff was being thrown in the kitchen.
Did Marcia McLuhan help get your position in Toronto when you were teaching Toronto? Did he help with that, or you just went to teach there because he was there?
Yeah, I was teaching there, and I said, I'm going to call him, and I picked up the phone and called him, and he answered. I said, hello, and Marcia McLuhan says, hello, and that was the beginning of all the greatness. Just to go up there, but that's how direct he was. If he would find somebody that would listen, he'd tune in and talk to you. So anyway, and he said, now you listen, you'll hear a terrible crashing and splashing. And sure enough, about 20 seconds later, crashing and splashing in the kitchen. And he was, and
Get you plugged in.
people were in the kitchen, and that's all they could take. They were overworked and underpaid. They were working too early, too much. And so they just exploded. And he said it happens every time. I mean, there wasn't anything you could do about it. It was just a sociological statement, which everything was a sociological.
Phenomenology. What is that word?
Phenomenology, existential phenomenology. You know what that is? Come on, you got to know.
Clinton, what is it? He might know.
Phenomenology, isn't that Husserl and Heidegger? All those weird Germans who were
I'm
exploring the nature of
sorry,
being.
they're German, and they were Nazis, but that's how they knew. What existential phenomenology is very simple. Now listen to me, my children, and you shall hear the midnight ride of Paul Revere.
Existential phenomenology.
Yes, and okay, but is existential phenomenology your existence writ large? Okay, so it means making the invisible visible. Say it. How simple is that?
Making the visible invisible.
Okay, so you bring it up out of the goo and make it visible. And what is TV? Would we have seen any of that stuff at the Capitol? No, it would have just been or Gone with the Wind. It's over. You know, the old plantation days are over. You can't just say that. So you have to show it, and TV shows it, movies show it, and that's existential phenomenology. They just complicated it with a title. Okay, I didn't hear you say it. Existential. Don't write it down. Just it's a brain thing.
He knows I'm writing it down. You're watching my eyes go.
Well, everybody.
Are you trying to tell me the visual sense is more dominant than the ear sense?
I don't know dominant or not dominant. That's not even a nice word. Don't talk about dominance. Somebody told me I was the dominant parent. I said, what? Don't say that. That sounds like I'm making me bossy. I'm not bossy. Shut up.
You know, Marshall said, shut up, he said.
I know. He would put that quotes around everything that was so cute.
Well, that's the big thing now. They put quotes around the word content. Like we're just sitting here in a Zoom session staring at each other, Googling our eyes, and we're filling it with content. You know what kids do now? Mary Jane, watch this. This is what kids do on Zoom to play. And then the other kid goes, you froze. He goes, no, I was faking freezing. They play with the medium, but you're saying, you're saying the normal thing was if you read a book, you're smart. If you watch TV, you're dumb. But you're saying the opposite.
Yeah.
And people don't get that.
They don't get that. I used to teach reading, and I said, oh my God, my children are not going to learn to read. I called him, and he called me, and it was a panic. And Ray was listening.
Marshall
McLuhan.
Uh-huh.
And I said, my children are not going to learn to read. Oh my God, I'm a reading teacher, and they don't understand what I'm saying. He said, oh, never mind, Mary Jane. They're not going to ever read. They're going to watch TV. Well, at that time, watching TV would turn your mind to mush.
Mush.
My mother said that. Of course, she was down there every morning watching. Mother, you're turning your mind to mush. And she and my sister sitting there at the table. They lived in the fancy West Coast, Canada.
They live in Iowa, right?
Yeah. Education. We need it. Do you realize all the schools are crumbling? That showed a picture of Harvard. It's empty.
Another word, academia.
Yeah. Academia.
Is that one of your words you made up?
Well, I don't know where it came from, but I would never use the word because I don't have it. I got a hold of medicine.
We don't mention dementia anymore.
Well, as my mother said, don't talk about things we don't mention, like cancer. She died of cancer. What does mother have? Nothing. What are you going to, if you bring it into your consciousness, it'll get worse.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
They say pull the wool over your own eyes.
It's a little bit furry there.
But it is phenomenal that Marshall said education and entertainment are different, and entertainment pleases us more, so it's better.
It's true.
Is that true?
Well, you see, my dad was a professor of English. In fact, their name was Tilly and Joe. And here they are.
Oh, guess what? Is it here? Let's go up a little higher. There it is. Who's running the country now? Jillian Top.
Very good.
Yeah, they drawn by my oldest son, who's quite a good artist. All of my children are good artists, or else I beat them.
Well, she beat us to the punch, is what she said.
But you didn't really raise them to be literate. You raised them to be visual. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know all that difference between visuals and
right brain TV children.
I don't even.
The electronic matriarchy.
I don't know. I don't label it. It just is.
Yeah.
A poem does not mean but be. A wonderful poet once said, Chiara. Anyway.
What is the function of poetry?
What? Time for a song?
Allons enfants de la patrie song, I know. Well, I taught all of my kids to sing. I dressed them up in little metal helmets, and we went out every day on the stage and we sang. Chevalier, sing it with me. Chevalier de la table ronde, goût en voir si le pain est bon. Goût en voir. Goût en voir, non, non, non. Goût en voir si le pain est bon. Goût en voir, oui, oui, oui. Goût en voir, non, non, non. Goût en voir si le pain est bon. We had to change it. We had to boulderize it from, it used to be, see how the van is doing it. Taste and see if the wine is good. And then they would leave the place if it wasn't any good. And I had to change it to pain, to bread. Kids didn't understand that. I didn't understand.
Uh-oh, what the hell? Picasso. Look at this, Picasso.
Nice.
Picasso was burning his helpers with a cigarette.
Oh, dear.
Because they were, she said, you can't put an ear over there. And he said, shut up, woman. And I thought that was so terrible because she could, but they didn't understand about you can do what you want if you're I think it's called poetic license.
But what did that song you just sang say? What was the translation?
Sing it now, sing it, get it together.
Oui, oui, oui.
Chevalier, see, a horses. A horsey. Chevalier, where do you think the word Chevrolet came from? Cheval means horse. Chevalier de la table ronde, round table. Chevalier de la round table.
We're bringing the horses around the table?
No, the men, they always had, when they came in from fighting, they came in and sat around the table and had a booze.
Okay.
Chevalier de la table ronde, round table. Good au revoir, si le pain est bon. Good au revoir, oui, oui, oui. Good au revoir, non, non, non. Good au revoir, si le pain est bon. Good au revoir, oui, oui, oui. Good au revoir, non, non, non. Good au revoir, si le pain est bon. See, isn't that good? And the kids could sing it right away because it only has 2 words, yes, 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 and no, no, no. I used to run a music group and we would sing, sing, sing. And then the helpers brought in big piles of written material. That was the end of our singing.
People just stare at the paper.
Yeah, they just stare at the paper. What page is that on? Did they turn around? What are we doing? I said, put the books away. Let's just sing. Shape notes. And so it worked a lot better.
Mary Jane, we've had these sessions with all these highbrow McLuhan people, and you're the only one who has the singing. That is amazing, and showing pictures and not flabbergasting over highbrow literature. But I know Clinton wants to know, how did you become someone who seeks fun? Because we were laughing, and you're singing and laughing, and there's something in your upbringing or in your DNA.
Definitely my upbringing. My mother was she had taught little black kids. When you get out of high school, you go and take care of the black, and she called them pickaninnies. But I mean, she didn't know from political correctness. She just called them pickaninnies, and she had the best time with them. And she taught Uncle Remus. I was born and bred in the briar patch, Uncle Remus says, and some goes up, some goes down.
Mind your clothes.
Mind your clothes. You'll get to
Bottom safe and
sound. And said, birds in their little nest agree. All these homey stuff she taught us. She taught them, and they loved it. Well, then my father comes along, and he's an English professor, and they're downstairs. She taught him everything he knows. But he hated Marshall McLuhan. And she's down there in the front room. She read all the books to him. She read Dickens and
She was also a little fairy. She was for Breton.
Oh, yeah.
The people that moved the stones. Yeah.
She was like,
she was so cute.
Like a leprechaun she was. And in fact, she was from the Calais where the war started anyway. So she was a little French leprechaun, and she would sit and tell all the stories, all the good stories. And at the time, my dad was teaching, warriors that went off to war. That for the Second World War, they were being trained at the University of Iowa. And a lot of the people there were refugees from the Nazis. So we all fit together, and she gave everybody a bunch of delicious food, and we all talked, and so they were telling stories. And my father would he would read from, he was editing the college Bible. And he says, well, though I passed through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. And they're all laughing in the other room. And she taught them, they were supposed to be working, but she gave everybody a part in the play of Alice in Wonderland. Oh yeah, let's put that up there. Speaking of Clinton, look at here's his namesake, Clinton. Here you go. You see,
that's one of your heroes, right?
Oh, absolutely. She won by 2%, and that's Clinton's name.
That's me.
Clinton's last name. You got it, Mary. You got a great memory, but this is what I love to hear your roots about your mom and your dad, and that's important to us. But this book is the book that I found you through. Who was Marshall McLuhan? on page 82, it
What?
says, now a mother hails from Ann Arbor, Michigan, as a teacher and a women's lib pioneer. So I looked up that book, found you in the phone book. Look at and there's Lynn's version and there's my version.
Is that how you found me? See what literacy will do for you.
But it says this amazing line. It says, this is what you wrote. There is not a day that goes by that I don't think of Marshall McLuhan. There is not a magazine that doesn't quote him. There is not a present day problem that couldn't be solved if we understood his insights.
Well, look at that.
But it seems as though you're saying if you say there are problems, then there are problems, because Duchamp says there's no solution because there's no problem.
Well, so what? Say it's already solved. Don't talk to me.
Once again, Mom doing New Age before New Age.
You're doing New Age before New Age? Is that what you said, Ursula?
Who can keep track of the ages? Everybody's, how old are you? I'm 187, so shut up.
I found a book in the dumpster yesterday. It was 1878, and it was still in mint condition. I said, forget it. I can watch the TV show. Why keep a book around?
But it probably cost you $180 million to pick it up. And people look at it and say, what's that? It's a book.
With the depth of literacy, you told me that we would be using them for furniture, with books.
I did. When I went to San Bernardino, they said, you're going to teach reading. So they backed up a big truck of useless books and dumped it out in the backyard. And I said, but use those books. For one thing, the kids can't read and never will be reading. So what we did was I glued them all together and we didn't have any tables or chairs. So I made tables and chairs out of the books.
Nice.
Other teachers came around and they said, could we have some? And the principal goes, what are you talking? These are old books and old glue. And she said, it works for her. Let's ask it. And so everybody in the room in San Bernardino got
furnished their schoolrooms with books.
Cheap. Just glue the old ones together and keep going. Worked out pretty good.
But with Zoom, it's really nice that Ursula set you up on a Zoom, because this is television, telephone.
Isn't it wonderful?
It started in 1939 at the New York World's Fair, the same year Joyce put out Finnegan's Wake. But here's the proper thing. If you look at Clinton, he's got his books in back of him. Mm-hmm. He's got like Camille Paglia, who teaches goddess culture with him. She loves Marshall. He's got his copy of Finnegan's Wake and all his McLuhan books.
Where'd you find him? Hey, where'd you find him?
Yeah, it's like, Clinton, where did you go wrong, Clinton? Because you're reading books, but you're really a computer television guy, right? Tell us your story so Mary Jane can...
let me hear your... Where did you go wrong?
Where did I go wrong? My mother taught me phonics outside of school. Before school taught me how to read, the whole word method.
Oh, by the whole word. Oh my God.
So I was reading phonics, and she wasn't very confident, not very confident in giving me definitions. So whenever I said, "What does this word mean?" she said, "Get the dictionary." Dictionary. Go get the dictionary. Right. So to this day, I have a habit. I still probably look up 5 words a day every day.
Well, great. Oh,
so that got sunk in much deeper than maybe television did. I'll not to say I didn't watch very much.
Well, okay, first of all, don't apologize. Don't explain. Don't complain.
Oh,
you're good the way you are. But the main thing is we all live in a yellow submarine. A yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine.
We used to love to sing that.
Yeah.
A slate gray Pinto, we used to sing.
Well, and I think that describes where we all are. We're in this yellow submarine.
We're all together.
But aren't we living in a reality world. I mean, reality TV. What do they call it? Reality TV.
Oh, reality TV. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, what's the #1 show? The Kardashians.
Is it still? Wow.
Don't you
But-
agree? Do you ever
Well,
watch,
I don't.
you know,
I
why
don't-
you need to watch it? Just although you definitely would enjoy if you want to see a lot of babies and a lot of women and people having sex with brown people. Oh my God.
Wow. Well, I did like the the Britney Spears documentary because it really framing Britney Spears really explained the media.
See,
You know, it
Mm.
was literacy all the way.
That's a perfect example. But there's not enough black people in it. Gotta have some black people.
Yeah.
And you know, Jerry, the first night I spent a night at your place. Oh, the end of the story.
Door shut. You spent a night at my place. You were hanging out here. Wait, you didn't have sex with Marsha McLuhan, did you?
Everybody,
You had sex?
everybody thinks we had sex.
Who didn't she have sex with?
That's right. Marshall McLuhan, no.
Norman Mailer?
Norman Mailer, everybody thinks I had sex with Mark. Well, I made people think because he came to my house twice. He got on a plane, brought us presents, and slept in the second bunk.
Dad welcomed him in.
And Dad said, "Who's that?" Which is what he always said to people that were staying overnight. And I go, "I don't know. He just needed a place to sleep." And we had a little black friend, Miss, that came from Chicago and stayed. And it's funny, Keith knew that he was going to try to get into her. So he took all the handles off the doors. He unscrewed them with his little, yeah, what is it called? Screwdriver.
Yeah.
If you pardon the expression.
Speaking of we just watched a TED thing about this guy put a computer in the wall of a slum and the kids taught themselves. What do you think of that?
Have you, oh, I love it. Have you heard about that? It's, what's it called, honey? A hole in the wall?
Yeah, something like computer in the wall.
Oh, you gotta get hold of that
So cool.
computer, that.
And you need a granny. All you need is a computer and a granny.
granny
And
to
the
explain.
kids, the granny just says, "You're doing good. Oh, that's amazing."
Okay, now give him the written name of it so he can.
Yeah, I have to Google it. Where's my? Oh, I left my.
We'll find it. We can Google it.
It's so great. If
Yeah.
you're interested in education, but who is?
Yeah, we're interested in entertainment. Yeah.
Entrainment and entertainment.
Entertainment, exactly.
That's right.
Entertainment.
That's right. Well,
But
that's
how about Ivan Illich? What did he do with you?
Ivan Illich. Oh,
Who's that?
for a priest, he needs to go to hell.
But what was his main thing and how did you encounter him?
I made friends with him. We had a good correspondence, and he said, "Come down and visit and teach." And so I I went down there. Oh my God, he's got this cult. I don't know what it is, but I was chased out of there by the police.
Oh.
The Mexican police came after me, and I had to hurry and run. And I spilled all my stuff on the place.
Well, you brought your monk outfit and your better red than dead stop sign.
Remember that I used to have a better dead than red stop sign, and I had my monk outfit, and I had it on, and I had, oh my God, I had all my goodies. And well, overnight, he turned from he was a priest, a retired priest. Now I know why they retired him. He had this thing going in Mexico, and he'd call the kids down and then charge them $400 to teach them. I don't know what he was teaching, but boy, it was a scam and a ram. He was not a good guy, but I didn't find that out till too late. So anyway,
You were in a Catholic country and you had your monk outfit on and you're a little critical of him, I guess.
I was very critical, and I said, you know, we have to stop this. And they found out. And we had to quick pack up our stuff and get out of there because the police were after us. We ran for the border. And as we crossed the border, I had a big bag full of goodies.
Oh, I remember that.
And it spilled.
She got all the Mexican goodies. It was
And
fun.
right, and I couldn't pick them up because the police were after us. What am I doing? And I paid a lot for our place to live,
A rental.
2 rentals, and probably 20 cents. Seemed like a lot to me. But anyway, so he was, but Ivan Illich. What's the book that he wrote?
I think deschooling or something.
Deschooling Society.
Yeah.
Sounds radical.
Yeah, it sounds right. Gotta figure out how to get rid of these schools. And so I did. That's why I set up Community High.
Well, tell us about Tommy High, because
Tommy High is very famous.
what's your favorite, the most famous grad from Tommy High invented what? Some big.
He's the guy that invented Skype, and he went to live in Britain, and he's a billionaire. But that's one of many. My son and my daughter are a product of Community High, and my granddaughter
was like a high school when Walden 2 came out, and you said you had a free high school in Ann Arbor. What was Tommy High?
It used to be Mac School, if anybody remembers Mac School, which was a black school. How ironic. Well, they emptied it because they wanted to have integration, but nobody wants to go to something that used to be black, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, it was empty, and Keith and I went in there. It was all dusty and musty, and it was one little light bulb falling down from the sky, which didn't work. And he's an electrician, so he fixed it, and it brightened up every place. I said, let's have this for a school. We'll just open it up and have all the women can have babies, which in those days you
We had
couldn't.
a nursery there, and the community resource was the people from the community were teaching the
That's right.
courses. Some of the courses.
The idea of community is you go around and you learn in school. You learn from the community. You don't have books and mortar. Oh,
But it got nicknamed Tommy High because were you Marxist?
It's just easy to say, Tommy High, and it was radical.
I
radical.
love it, but it doesn't have anything to do with communism. It's just, except in the fact that communism, community means everybody living together and talking.
Right.
That's how they learn from the community, and have since not Adam and Eve, but probably.
And we weren't carrying on the regular norm. We were radical, so
No, you didn't have to sit in a row and salute.
thumbing our nose at normal. So
Right.
Tommy High, whatever.
Oh, no, listen, we were just going along. But the funny thing was, in those days, everybody thought you had to sit in a row and salute. Well, I've been there. I thought it's called Nazis. And I said, my kids are not going to school there. They can do whatever they want. That's how they're going to learn, because I had been corrupted by all this open education I learned. The British had it started. It's called open education. Open it up or shut it down.
What's that, like Montessori school and stuff, or?
Montessori, well, no, are you kidding? Montessori is,
I don't know any of this stuff. Please enlighten me.
it's okay. Montessori is a school, and it's everything in its place, and shut up.
Ah.
And then there was Waldorf is a salad. I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, Waldorf was a school too, but it's very elite, very rich.
Yeah.
And Mitt Romney had kids that went to the school. What school?
Your school.
What's it called? Day school. And my kids, but you got to pass. So I went there. I took the kids and I introduced them, and they all took the test, and they passed with flying colors. Did you remember that?
Nope.
And
Yeah, you're saying that these kids could like eat popcorn, sing songs, and not so much do math problems and read books.
There you go. You got it. You'd be a good professor. You are a good professor.
In other words, let's party.
Yes,
There you go.
exactly.
And another thing was people go out in the grass and take a sandwich and learn out in the grass. What? You can't do that. It's easy
Yeah.
stuff. We're having a picnic. What are you doing? You're supposed to be inside choking yourself.
Is it art or is it nature?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the great painters, Cézanne or Matisse, said, if you take your painting and put it in the bushes and it blends in, it's good art.
Ah, that's sweet. I like that.
Look at these paintings. They blend right in, don't they? That's the idea. Bring the outside in.
But how did you enlighten Marshall into goddess culture? I mean, isn't he sort of a macho, male philosophy?
No,
And
he
you were
never insisted on that. He liked me to talk about goddess, and his wife did too. We would go to his house after class and sit there, and he would go down into the woods and bring back 2 or 3 big logs and throw them on the fire, and she would run in the kitchen and make cider and cookies, and oh, it was so fun. It's just like our little family, and she would get in on the phone calls and she would talk, Mary Jane, what are you doing? Because she wanted to be in on it too, and she didn't know me from Adam, but we didn't care. We liked each other. She was very much like my mom.
I thought you and Marshall were at opposing opinions about literacy, that you didn't think it was healthy and he was like, oh, what are you, crazy?
Well, see, when you bring it into an argument, nobody understands anybody. And then I realized we understand each other. And I understand him better, and my dad did not understand him, but it took too long to explain it. But dad.
Well, you never got along with that guy anyway.
That's right. And that's why.
But that's the word understanding. Bruce Powell, the great poet from Canada, taught us last week that is understanding media, the letter U and the letter M, and it's So it's sort of like understanding media is when you go but what does the word understand mean to you? Because he said understanding is not having a point of view.
Well, that's true, but when you start explaining it, it flies out the window. What does he mean? I don't know. I don't care, but I appreciate him for trying.
Yeah.
I appreciate for trying.
I'm going to head out in about 10 minutes. Should we?
I think we all got to head out, but that was so good listening to you.
Well, it was good. Let's have a little game show here. You fill in the blank, and then Clinton will fill in the blank. This is a Balzac line, and you fill in the blank. Behind every blank, there's a blank. What would you fill in?
Well, the old one is that behind every successful man every successful woman is a surprised man.
Oh, that is great. Okay. Clinton, you fill it in. Behind every blank, there's a blank.
Well, I first thought it was boring. Behind every cloud, there's a silver lining. But that couldn't have been Balzac, was it?
No, I'll tell you Balzac's after. We'll ask Ursula. Ursula, fill in the blank. Behind every blank, there's a blank.
Behind every mirror is the future.
Right.
Back to the Future. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that was Balzac said, behind every great fortune, there's a crime.
Ooh.
Now, you all did great. Clinton, that was great because we're positiveness with Mary Jane. Here's another one. We'll try this one. To know the world, one must. Mary Jane, you're up.
To know the world, one must
Live.
Good. Clinton.
To know the world, one must climb into it.
That's good.
That's very
That's like womb service. Like
What'd you say?
Womb service.
Womb service.
womb service. That's Robin Williams, who's from Michigan too.
Yay.
Said,
He's a
he didn't want to come out of his mother's womb. It says it was nice womb service. Okay, what's Ursula's be? To know the world, one must.
I was gonna say live a long time as well. You have to live a long time to know the world.
Oh, that is beautiful. And that's the great Italian poet Caesar Pavese said, to know the world, one must construct it.
That's about it. Well, they believe you didn't really live until you had written it down and knew it. But
Well,
you know,
go ahead, Mary Jane, because I have another one that starts my
go ahead,
book.
go ahead.
It goes like this.
I don't know where you're.
I don't know what I think until I blank. What would you say, Mary Jane? I don't know what I think until I.
Write it down.
Clinton, I don't know what I think until I.
I don't know what I think until I did it already.
Good. Ursula.
Till I do my breath of fire exercises.
Oh, I love that. So Joan Didion says, I don't know what I think until I write it down. Marshall says, I don't know what I think until I've said it. In mine is, I don't know what I think until I ask somebody else. That's why I ask so many stupid questions. But isn't that the essence of question asking? Frank Zappa said stupidity is the building block of the universe. If you don't know something, then you ask. But people go, that's a stupid question. Isn't that a moron?
There is no stupid.
But I found out that people think they're too stupid. You see, I say, okay, everybody, you're going to grade your own papers. And everybody would come back with an F. So, wait a minute. Because they have a very low opinion of themselves. So I said, well, we're not going to do that anymore. Because to me, when I first started community, I said, there will be no grades. ABC, I'll go free. My mother used to say, ABC, I'll go.
I have a recommendation I learned in the world. I heard that if you're going to give a test to people, you want to say, look, we have high expectations. This is a difficult test, but I believe you can do this. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't ever say this is a difficult test. Scares the hell out of me. This isn't a test. Just let's talk.
Well, I mean, I think that's a better way, but anyway, in that paradigm.
Yeah, in that paradigm.
But, I've got to get back to reading my Bible. That's the TV guide because, you called your Bible, Mary Jane, is the TV guide. And I bought a TV guide last week at my bookstore for $10 and it has Jimmy Durante on the cover. It's from 1957. It's like reading the medium is the message. But tell us in closing a couple of these words. What does cockocracy mean? Cockocracy.
Well, you know what a cock is. It rules us. The male penis is ruling us. It never stops.
Yeah. There's another word you brought up with imperialism. How'd you change imperial? Oh,
Pimperialism.
Yeah.
Run by pimps. And it's what it is. The men own it and the women live in it.
And then how about jock supporters of the phallic? What's that one?
Alice Quo.
Pretty good. Jock support. They were jock supporters of
Who are they? Who are the jock supporters of the Alice Quo?
Whoever supports that system. Everybody, in fact.
Yeah.
And they kept talking about jock supporters. Oh, stop. And showing us naked men everywhere running around with their jocks hanging out. Oh, stop it. Trying to ruin.
That is truly some great wordplay. Jock supporters of the phallus quo.
Well, you
But-
what is it? Status quo.
Yeah.
So
But Mary Jane, you must, I learned from Frank Zappa to embrace the contradictions, but one of your best one-liners is better read than dead. You're saying literature is better than dying?
Like READ, red. Yeah.
well,
No. How do you spell better read? How do you spell the red?
who can spell anymore?
So you mean it could be RED or it could be READ?
Yeah, could be either one, and they use it either way. But better dead than red. I put that on a magazine that was published in L.A.
And in a stop sign for some
The
reason.
stop sign. Well, that's
Stop
all
and
I
think.
had to write it. Everything doesn't mean something,
Okay.
but I
Sometimes a cigar is
used
just
it.
a cigar.
Yeah.
But you mean it's you? I said it backwards. Your line is better dead than red.
Better.
Either way, you're dead.
Well, how do you explain your longevity?
Well, because I figured that out. I said literacy is dead. Killed off my dad, killed off my mother, killed off everybody we knew. They went to school and they died. Therefore, ergo,
Laugh and sing.
be my mom. Be my
Oh,
mom. Be
that
Aunt-
is beautiful. And so, can you forget to die?
What?
Can you forget to die?
Well, you wouldn't know because you're dead. Okay, we're just about.
Okay, we're just about dead. You're you're broadcasting, and the world's about to end. And they go up to Mary Jane. The world's about to end, and they say, "Do you have any final words? What would you say?"
Break off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. I need some chocolate. What would be my next words?
Hallelujah. Mary Jane, it's been so nice. And I want to thank Ursula. We got to do this every Saturday. Every Saturday, we got to have a sing-song session.
Oh, we'll see.
Maybe the weekdays because I'm working weekends.
Okay. But we really appreciate your time. And thanks for making a phone call.
You know, one last thing I wanted to say is that when I first met, what's his name there?
Marshall.
Marshall. No, this guy right here,
Oh, Jerry.
Jerry. How soon we forget.
That's like, I'm not, Mary Jane, it goes like this. I'll never forget what's his name.
Jerry is mom's biggest
My
fan. I
old
think.
friend, I can't remember his. Remember the first night we met?
You tell me about it.
See how soon we forget. I stayed overnight at your house, and you lived in a half of a. I guess you still do.
Oh, I still live here. It's a former two-door garage. Yes.
Right, and you live in half of it. And say hi to Susie for me. And they made me a carrot cake
Oh,
because we were celebrating Marshall McLuhan. I mean, yeah, his birthday.
Well, it's your birthday and Marshall's on the same day, July 21. So that's something there.
Is that a good moment or what? But anyway, so guess what was happening that night? I was lying on your bed. We were watching TV, and Susie was nearby. And remember what was happening that night?
Tell me. What? Tell me.
Well, what were you doing? There was a big hullabaloo outside and a parade down the main highway. 2 white trucks. Bzz, 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 bzz. Who was in them?
Oh, OJ?
You got it.
Oh my God, that is heavy.
It was OJ running away from his crime, and his lawyer, if it fits, you must acquit. And of course, he was guilty as hell. He killed his wife. And we were watching, hoping he would be charged, and he wasn't. And you know who his wife was? I mean, Well, she was making out on the couch with Bruce Jenner, the great, the great Olympic. He had won everything. He won every sport ever he started, and he changed into a woman.
Right.
And explained it and made a very explanation to everybody. I mean, it was the best explanation I've ever heard for people, because they put him down. What was he doing? What was he thinking? It's dirty, it's horrible. And he explained the whole thing. And he had been making out with the wife of, now we will say his name and linger in fame. Kardashian.
You know, this is cosmic, because you're born on the same day as Marshall. The day you came to my house was OJ's parade night, and today is a full moon. So there's got to be some cosmic.
Definitely cosmic.
That
was good.
That was really good. And it's like what
can you do about it? Just keep going.
Yeah, we keep going, and we'll do it with the Marshall's 2 words: complex clairvoyance.
There you go.
Thanks for joining us.
2 things in a row.
What a trip.
Oh, was that fun? Clinton.
That was great fun. Thank you, Mary Jane.
Clinton has a good name. You realize she won here in Michigan by 400,000 votes, and they still electrocuted her in the electrical college.
The electrical college.
Well, you are electricity per se, and we love you, Mary Jane.
We love you.
Thank you, Ursula. Don't ever hit the leave button. Just stay here forever.